There is a period in everybody's journey where they are so different because they've started to do new things that they no longer fit in with their old set of friends. But they're not sufficiently developed that they've gained their new set of friends. And they're unsure. Should I go back? Should I lean back into getting a bag in with the boys on a weekend? Is that the highest, way that I can live my life passion forward? Because that's what everybody else does. And all of my friends are taking the piss. Oh, not drinking again. Too good for us, are we? Not going out again this week. Oh, okay. Well, enjoy staying in home and reading. Fucking nerd. So you're going to feel the pain of being ostracized from the group of friends that you used to have. But you're stuck in this messy middle where you haven't yet worked out who you are on the other side of this. And that lonely chapter that's in the middle is something that I would say almost nobody that I've ever met who has gone from a place where they are to a place where they want to be hasn't gone through.
People want to know how I'm always motivated. It's the unseen work, which you just said is a true statement. I'm out running at 2 o'clock in the morning, 1 o'clock in the morning, in the gym, long sessions by myself. That's real. How I'm able to just extract dopamine, the good dopamine whenever I want. Man, I've trained 99% of my life alone. No one pat me on the back. I did all of the work alone. And while I'm still hard on myself, I know what I did. So whenever times get bad for me, people, all this, who's gonna carry the boats and love? That's real. I hate that people know me for that guy, because that guy is not every fucking day. Like when they see me, they want that energy. That's not me every day. I can extract it immediately when I need to, because when you train alone, and I lived alone for so many years in this misery, and you're able to get out of it by yourself.
There's times where you can go without your friends, you can go without going out, you can go without other people around you. You have to separate yourself from the pack. You have to be willing to spend time with yourself. Greater the sacrifice, greater the reward. This is so true. And when you do these things, you'll start seeing that, okay, well, I used to do this. And when you go out and you don't do it anymore, it's very, very clear that you've made the right decision, because your friends will still be doing that. And you'll find yourself that you don't fit in with that crowd anymore. You just don't fit in. Nah, I got something to, you'll start getting away from people that are negative. You only want to be around positive. You'll start not wasting your time on things that aren't productive. And you will start taking your time and energy and putting it into things that you enjoy doing that are productive for yourself.
Nothing's perishable. It's all legacy being built. Question for you guys is, it's so easy for me when I cut my hand in the very beginning of this to say, dude, it hurts, man, I can't go on. It's so easy to make that excuse, and you know what? I can live with that. That's a viable excuse, right? But is it the truth? Can you go on? What else do you want? Is this stronger than your dreams? And do you put as much time and attention into your dreams as you do your fears? That makes sense to you guys? So many people think all day long on what they're scared of. Before a wrestling match, back in the day, I remember a lot of my opponents be like, oh man, what happens if I lose? What happens if I get caught? What happens if they take me down? What the f are we talking about? All that tension, all that energy going into the possibility of failure. Why can't the individual, the human, erase that mentality and put all that tension is, how great it's gonna feel when I pin that motherfucker, when I take him down, when I beat him down in front of his home crowd, when I win something, when I go after something, when I put the work in and achieve it. Why don't we think that way?
People need to have purpose to get up. They need purpose to perform. You need to get to a point in your life where there's nothing on the docket. There's no 5K, there's no I'm gonna get into school to be this or that, and still perform to the highest level. Because what people don't get is one day that thing's gonna come up. And if you're not constantly performing without purpose, you're not gonna be ready when the time comes. It's this magical thing, purpose, that we're all looking for. But what's funny about it all is that we need these things to perform. But we don't take a second to realize the purpose is always there. The purpose never leaves us, because the very purpose is you. You are always the purpose. there may be another purpose, like being a SEAL or going to college or whatever, but the main purpose in life is you. So if you wake up in the morning and you don't want to do something, you don't care enough about yourself.
You know that expression I always say, guys? You burn the midnight oil now, otherwise you stay awake in the midnight hours wondering what if. We destroyed that here tonight. It's 2 a.m. right now. No one here. Mano to mano, me and you, and where we want to go tomorrow. 2 a.m. What I love about 2 a.m. is that we're not living by the clock, man. If you got the clock says 10 o'clock time to go to sleep, or 9 to 5 time to go to work, that's bullshit. If you're in bed right now and you're rolling around, you can't fall asleep, get the fuck up. It probably means you haven't done an honest day's work to earn that rest at night. 2 a.m., not a fucking person's here. All those motherfuckers that come here with their hair done, the makeup, you know, these guys come in with shirts to be seen, missing the fucking point, man. Missing the point. You're not in here to get an achievement. You're in here to pay your fucking dues, so later in life, you never wonder what if. We're putting the work in now, so we never wonder what if. Not run by the clock. Run by our desire where we want to go tomorrow.
There's been many days where I didn't want to work out. I just didn't feel like I had the energy, and I just forced myself. And I think there's very few people out there that know how to force themselves. That's a learned, that's a learned skill. It's that kind of discipline and focus. You have to have like real rigid requirements of yourself, where you don't allow yourself to back out of things, and you don't allow yourself to slack off. And I don't think people put those kind of requirements on themselves as if it is a daily principle of life, like what you must get done. And if you did that, I think you'd be healthier and happier, and your body would perform more smoothly. And if you require your body to do things like that, I think it rises to the occasion. There are very few people that have that kind of discipline. So because of that, they come up with excuses. And excuses are a giant part of the problem. It's not simply a physical health issue. There's also mental aspects of it, and discipline's a big one. I just know way too many people who are weak mentally.
I always fix the things on the surface. So if I couldn't read and write, I learned to read and write. I would always fix these things on the surface level. And so whenever something hard would raise its ugly head, I didn't have any kind of tools to handle it. I'm like, man, I thought I fixed this already, man. But no, I didn't go deep into the dungeon of my soul to say, okay, what is making you a quitter? What is making you a weak man? What is making you afraid? And so that's why I kept on quitting and going back to start, or not knowing how to get through hard times. And that's why I always tell people, I'm not a theorist. I didn't study, I didn't study a book. I literally put myself in a fire repeatedly like a sword. You put a sword in a fire repeatedly and repeatedly. If you keep on doing that, you're going to get a nice sword. And then you keep on beating it. You got to beat the shit out of it. And that's what I am. Yeah. I became that. I said, okay, we can't quit. We got to figure out why you are this.
Find some difficult shit to do, because that gets away a lot of the anxiety that you carry around in your body. A lot of difficult things make regular life less difficult. And that sounds so simplistic, but particularly physically difficult things. Because when you do things that are physically difficult, the strain of making yourself do those things, it's very valuable. It's not just valuable in terms of health and the way you look, but it's also valuable for your mind, maybe even more so. Because regular life can be confusing, and little things that go wrong and little problems that arise are exacerbated by the fact that you're not accustomed to dealing with hardship. So creating your own bullshit, whether it's through some brutal kettlebell exercise or running up hills or something, is extremely valuable for you also, not just accepting the nuanced perspectives of other people, but also being able to navigate through this world with some sort of an understanding of just how complex it all is, and not be overly thrown off by every little dip in the road and pothole that you encounter.
After watching that film, I come to understand, if I could work that hard every day, being blessed with the physical tools that I have, what would my career be? And I made a promise to myself from that day that I was going to work that hard every single day, so that when I do retire, I have no regrets. And And that was the most important thing for me, is to leave no stone unturned, get better every single day. And if I lived that way, then over time, you know, I'd have something that was beautiful. But that was my philosophy. It seems like a pretty simple one, but you know, if you live your life to just get better every single day, you do that for 20 years, I mean, what do you have?
It's just about commitment. That's it. Just commit and just do what you know you need to do, and that's it. So tonight's my night, but I'm no different than you know what I mean. All I did was just put in the work, and that's it. So if each one of us put in the work that we know we should do, we know what the work is we need to do. It's just sometimes you don't do it, you know. And then you know when you say, okay, I got to do this, and you know you got to do it, and then you don't do it. That's like a mini defeat, and then those add up, and then your lack of interest to go do it actually wanes, and then you can get injured and all this type of thing. So
how do you stop making excuses? This is actually pretty simple. You have to know, you have to accept that all your excuses are lies. They are lies, all of them. Think about the things that you tell yourself, the lies you use to rationalize taking the easy road. Taking the easy road and leaving discipline behind. Think about them. You don't have time. That's a lie. You don't have support. That's a lie. You don't have the equipment or the gear. Lies. You don't know the best way. Who cares? That's a lie. Or you're too old or you're too young. Of course you're too old or too young. Lie. And there's you're too busy. Sure you are. That's a lie.
It might be April where you are, and you're expecting nice weather and but it's 20 degrees. So, you might be somewhere where it's too fucking hot. So, you might have sore legs, sore back, sore shoulder. So, the struggle is real. It never gets any easier. You gotta get harder. I was out yesterday, getting after it. Had one of the best runs I've had in a long time. PR'd that bitch. So, no one cares what you did yesterday. It only matters what you do it today. Those who take me literally, so, I'm a cheerleader for those who want to be better. Not for those who want to stay the same. Stay hard.
If you had to create a human, what would you put them through to make them tough? It probably wouldn't be a really chill life.
Yeah.
What would you put them through to make them patient? Well, you probably wouldn't give them things immediately. And so it's like we want these traits, but each of the traits has a price tag attached to it. And it's just like, do you want to pay the price tag to get the thing? And so I think if people reframed the period of life that they're going through as the price that they're paying out of their wallet, but the wallet is their time, is the seconds of life that they're trading for it, then I think more people would be willing to make the trade. Because at least when I look at myself, like when I'm 80 something years old and I'm looking back on my life, I want to have these traits. But in order to have those traits, I know I have to go through these things. And I think for me, that's given me a lot of comfort in hard times.
When you grow up, you tend to get told that the world is the way it is, and your life is just to live your life inside the world, try not to bash into the walls too much, try to have a nice family life, have fun, save a little money. But life, that's a very limited life. Life can be much broader once you discover one simple fact, and that is everything around you that you call life was made up by people that were no smarter than you. And you can change it. You can influence it. You can build your own things that other people can use. And the minute that you understand that you can poke life and actually something will, if you push in, something will pop out the other side, that you can change it, you can mold it. That's maybe the most important thing, is to shake off this erroneous notion that life is there and you're just going to live in it, versus embrace it, change it, improve it, make your mark upon it.
Basketball for me was the most important thing. So everything I saw, whether it was TV shows, whether it was books I read, people I talked to, everything was done to try to learn how to become a
better basketball player. Everything. And so when you have that point of view, then literally the world becomes your library to help you to become better at your craft.
The world becomes your library to help you improve your craft, better your craft.
Yes, indeed.
So because you know what you want, the world's giving you exactly the information.
100%.
You become better at it.
Because you know what you're looking for.
I don't quit. I may not make it the first time, but I'll come back. I gotta get my head back in the game. I gotta figure this shit out. It doesn't mean you leave. It means you study it more. And whenever I fail at something, people always say, man, how do you handle failure, man? I fail a lot, dude. I fail all the time. They go, how do you handle it? What I'm trying to do, and this isn't being arrogant, man. It's being real. Not many people are trying to do. I'm trying to do shit, man, that many people aren't trying to do, but I don't look at failure as failure. I look at failure as your first, second, third, fourth, fifth attempt. I look at them as attempts. I don't look at anything as failure. Because when you're willing to try to do something, not trying is failure. That's not some after school special shit. But when you're able to go out there, there is no failure. It's attempts.
People don't see that. People will never understand that to be success. All they think about, well, he batted 202, and he struck out a certain number of times. Yeah, okay. But the effort was there, and the learning curve and the passion was there that has transcended not just to me, but to other people who are afraid to do things because they're worried about the perception that may come from other places. To me, that's more gratifying than anything, So that's the things that my father and my mother instilled in me. Take a negative and turn it into a positive. Don't be afraid to fail.
My personal goal is to squeeze every ounce of potential out of whatever I have. And I think that if you feel like you have potential left over, then it will eat you alive until you do something about it. Almost every successful person that I have ever encountered has gone through not a month or a year, but many years of doing work without reward, where they have to do things that other people find boring, and they have to sacrifice things that everyone finds interesting, that most people want to do during that entire season of their life. And they basically sacrifice a season of other things that they would prefer to do stuff that they would not prefer to do because of the one thing they want most. And that's the Rocky cutscene. And instead of lasting 5 minutes, it just usually lasts 5 or 10 years.
Just be the best version of yourself in anything that you do. You don't have to live anybody else's story. Sometimes people make it seem like you have to have certain prerequisites or a crazy life story in order to be successful in this world. But the truth is, you really don't. It doesn't matter where you come from, what you have or don't have, what you lack, what you have too much of, but all you need to have is faith in God, an undying passion for what you do or what you choose to do in this life, and a relentless drive and the will to do whatever it takes to be successful and whatever you put your mind to. Make sure you live in the moment and work your butt off every single day. Be humble and be grateful for all the blessings in your life.
All this pain right now, all worthwhile. The thing about pain is, like, you feel it right now, it's temporary, man. But later in life, you don't remember the pain. You just remember like the glory and the good times. When I was going through West Point, or Ranger School, man, there were some really dark hours, dark days, and dark years of my life, man. But looking back on it, I mean, I just remember the good people and the good times. I don't remember all those fucking, times where I was just so fucking done and worn out. I don't remember that. I just remember that I made it through it. And that exhilaration of pride and achievement, man, that outweighs all the pain and struggle, and that sweat equity to get there. It really does, as long as you get there. That's why when they say pain is temporary, pride's forever, that's what they're talking about. Because if you push through the pain to achieve the pride, you forget about the pain was ever even there. But if you can't push through the pain and the pain stops you and breaks you down, well, then that pain is forever.
Don't be mad. When you're laying there in your bed and you're in the hospital and you're 70, 80, 90 years old and you're thinking, God, I'm missing something. Yeah, because it's about 75% of you is still in there. Still chained up. because you just didn't want to find your willpower, didn't want to find your soul, your will, your heart, your determination, your guts, your courage. And what that looks like, it looks scary, like your little scary lab I went in. Scary to wake up every day and say, I'm stupid, but I want to figure out a way to be smarter.